Okay, so as most people know, I've been having an issue with a no hot start on my Land Rover Discovery 2. This is a 2001 Land Rover Discovery 2. I'll do a voiceover if I re-watch the video and I can't hear myself well, but for now, I'll go ahead and talk you guys through it. I've been having a no hot start, and so what that means is I will start my truck in the morning, it will start up just fine, it will drive wherever I need it to go just fine, but then the moment I turn it off and try to start it again, it wouldn't start back. So that hot start issue was accompanied by smoke coming from between the two front seats, so like it'll smoke right here, and it was also accompanied by my parking brake wire was being melted. That's where the no, not my parking brake, my high neutral low wire was melting. The coating on the outside of the wire was melting. So the smoke that I seen coming up from between the seats was coming from my high neutral low burning, and then it had, of course, the no hot start. So I have my truck running right now. I'm not sure if this worked, but what I did was I went and replaced the starter, because from what I read, if you have that issue and either your parking brake or your high neutral low is melting, then that means your starter is causing a short, and the first place it shorts out is either your parking brake or your high neutral low. So with that, I also have my parking brake light on, so I have to check my parking brake wire as well to make sure it's okay. But from what I see, because I park on the hill in my driveway, it's still working just fine. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead, and I've already replaced the starter. The starter ended up costing me, after the core and after my discount, ended up costing me about $125, if I'm not mistaken. So what I'm gonna do now is take the drive, come back home, because I would hate to stop it somewhere and be stuck wherever I stop it. Come back home, and then turn the car off, wait a little bit, which I typically don't have to wait a little bit, but I'm gonna wait a little bit, try to start it again, and see if replacing the starter with that issue fixed my problem. So you guys just stick with me. Let's take a quick drive, and then let's see how everything works. Okay, so I finally made it back home, and here's the moment of truth. So turn it off. A little nervous, but here we go. Okay, so that wasn't the issue. Okay, so after a further inspection, I found that it could be a bad ground. That could be what it is, a bad ground with my motor that's causing it not to start. So what I was taught was, let me grab this multimeter, walk you guys through it. I think I might have found an issue, I think I might not. So what you do is, you take your multimeter, you take your 2 leads, right? And you want to test positive on the positive. I'll try to do this with one hand, and the negative on the negative. And you see what you get. Right now I got 12 volts. That's it, just 12. So what you want to do after that to test to see if you got a bad ground is to go through and check your positive on all of your grounds. So I'm going down. There's one. Here's one. Here's one. And my engine ground is right here. Sometimes it's down right there. And this is what I found to be my issue. My engine ground was not reading. It's actually reading 0. So I put a wrench to it, which it's a 10 millimeter, sorry. And I was getting nothing. and I put the wrench to it and I turned it, and I realized that it was completely loose, barely on there. So that's why sometimes it was starting and sometimes it wasn't. But what I'm gonna do now is take it for another test drive, bring it home, and try to start it again to see if that was my problem. Stick around. Okay, so this is my second time. I've made it back home, and let's see if this works. That's what it was. Bad ground. That's all. A bad ground that was keeping my truck from running. And it was the main ground that attaches to the alternator. So now we're good to go.